Kevin, you want to pray for us this morning?
Please bow with me. Father God, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for your many blessings, Lord. Pray that you lead, guide, and direct this court in all we do, that all of our decisions may bring glory to you, Lord. There are many sick and suffering in our nation, Lord. I pray that you give them quick healing, guidance, Lord. Our military, first responders, Lord, I pray that you put your protective hands around them and bring them home safely each and every day. Ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call Marshall County Fiscal Court to order October 6, 2020. And first on the agenda is Mr. Story, D.J. Story. Good morning, sir, from Peel and Holland.
Yes. Thank you for having me here today, Judge, Court. Today we're just going to be talking through the agreements for the health insurance and employee benefits renewals for this year. Should be fairly brief, not a whole lot of changes to discuss. We have evaluated the Kentucky Employers Health Plan. Still is a valuable program for us. A little bit of brief information. We don't get a lot of data when it comes to the claims versus the totals that we have for the insurance program, but they do give us some aggregate totals. We actually had more claims in the past 12 months, about 105% more claims than we had premium paid in. So what that means is that we're costing the state more money than we're paying to have that insurance. The good news is we're being aggregated across a large number of employers within the state. The state as a whole only changed by roughly about 3% in total. So that is great. If we were in the open marketplace, we'd be able to get that kind of renewal and the level of benefits offered through the state employer's health plan. So the state plan was a 3% increase this year. Some minor changes to copays in certain plans, but overall, still very good coverage for what is out there in the open marketplace. It would be our recommendation to continue within the state health plan. Delta Dental is our dental coverage. There's no changes to that. Rates were held this year, so no change to that. We would recommend continuing with that program as well. Vision is the same, no changes, same benefits available, and no rate increases or changes this year. Same with the HRAs that we are offering, the FSAs. There's no additional administrative expense. We recommend continuing those programs. MetLife is the group life and AD&D product. We recommend no changes there as well. And we have voluntary offerings through Cincinnati Life and Aflac. That is an individual type policy, no adjustment regarding that to the court. And then MASA is a new service we are recommending to add in as a voluntary program. It is similar when you think about the air evac type products. If you're transported via helicopter after an accident, it's a product that someone can take out and support both them and their families for a low premium. The benefit with MASA is that they have no network, or they don't have a specific helicopter, so to speak, that you have to get picked up for. You can go anywhere in the country, and then their benefits will still pay. The other benefit is that it has ground transportation built into that, so if you're taken by an ambulance service, you can get paid benefits on those as well. So we'd be recommending offering that as a new offering. Would be completely voluntary for members. No additional expense for the court to offer that, but additional potential benefit for members of the plan. And in addition, an advisory agreement with Peel and Holland, no changes on our end of that, to continue to serve the court as you deem fit. So that being said, there's not a whole lot to change. The only potential only increase is a 3% increase on premium. That roughly, if you think about the most participated health plan with the Kentucky Employers Health Plan, a single person that completes the Living Well Promise currently in 2020 is paying $50.90 a month for that coverage. It would be changing to $52.42 for that coverage. So very minor adjustment in premium and still very good benefits offered. What questions do you have? Yes.
On the Aerovac that you were referring to,
Yes.
you mentioned you can be taken anywhere, basically. With
Yes.
that, does that cover if someone were to be out of state in some sort of an accident?
Yes.
As well?
So it's nationwide. They would negotiate with any provider that you were to be picked up by. Say you're in a car accident and you were down in Florida or wherever else. They would negotiate with that carrier to get that claim paid on your behalf. And then they have another benefit. If for some reason that negotiation does break down, they will still pay you a benefit of up to $20,000 to help offset that cost. Like, let's say that the provider just says, we're not going to take your work with you. They would still give a benefit in relation to that. So, and the cost of that premium or that monthly benefit actually does cover everyone within your household. So it's not just for each individual person.
When you say 105%, you're not just saying 5% over. You're saying double plus 5% is what was paid versus what we paid in.
Yeah, I don't have the
So if
exact total.
we paid in $1 million, we paid out $2 million or 2.1 million, whatever it would be.
Well, we paid.
I know that's not
Well, I don't have the
accurate, but-
exact, I've got, in the booklets that we gave were at page 18 and 19, it shows the total claims and the total claims review. I'm sorry, I don't have a total on that, but it is 5% over what we paid in. So it's not
okay.
double what we paid in,
Okay.
it's 5% over what we paid in.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you meant 105%.
No, sorry,
over.
apologize.
Okay, 5%
Yeah,
over. Okay.
5% over
Regardless, they paid out more than we paid in.
than we paid in.
All
And,
right.
and in the typical insurance marketplace, we did take this, we took the information to another carrier. We always like to kind of scan the marketplace. We looked at Humana as an option and said, okay, here's where we're at with with Marshall County's plan. What is potential? They actually looked at the claims information that we did have, and they just declined to quote. Typically, in the insurance marketplace, if you were fully insured and you were running at 105% loss ratio, you're looking at probably a 30-40% increase to maintain the current plan offerings that you have. They're not going to just turn around and say, yeah. We'll
Yeah, we'll
we
take
paid
care
out
of
more
it.
than you paid in, but we'll just get you next year. So
Yeah.
they are pretty stringent on those loss ratios. So
Gotcha.
still a very good option with the state and very good benefit offerings.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Regarding the benefit advisory service agreement, we would need action on this.
I move we accept it.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we'll go ahead and move to item B, Tammy Blackwell from Marshall County Library Board. She's not here? Oh, there she is. Podium, it does every time. I think Chad likes to sit behind that. 'Cause every time he's here, he's behind it, I can't see him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Our note, yeah.
For those of you I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Tammy Blackwell, and I became the director of the Marshall County Public Library in March when Christy retired. And yes, that was an interesting time to become director of a public entity. So it's been an interesting year. It's been an interesting fiscal year. Even before March, we closed our main branch in February to move to our 1150 Birch Street location. I want to brag on the staff. Don't tell the Benton staff this, but when we moved to Calvert and Hardin, we hired people to move all those books for us. The staff moved all those books themselves. That was a lot. So our staff has been working super hard this year. They've been really amazing through all the adjustments. And, you know, we've had to do a lot of adjustments. We were closed during the full stay-at-home orders. As soon as that first lift came in May, we started doing curbside service. And as soon as he gave the okay for museums and libraries, we started opening to in-person services. At this time, we are open at all 3 branches, 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. We offer in-person browsing, we have computer use, and we do curbside service. We do not have any programs at this time, partially because you can't do 10 or less in a library program, and partially because all of our programming rooms are currently being used to quarantine material. IMLS tells us that we need to quarantine things for a week before we send them back out, so we are checking out at almost the same rate as we were before. Our circulation has blipped down just slightly, and we're making up for that in digital checkout. So we are still having this massive amount of material come in, and it's being quarantined. So we're taking every precaution that IMLS and KDLA has asked us to take, and we feel very comfortable saying that it is completely safe to walk into any branch of the Marshall County Public Library at this time. Some of our numbers did drop slightly, of course. Our circulation's just slightly down the last fiscal year from the year before. But, you know, this branch closed in February and didn't open again until June. We can't have in-person programs, but we have done an amazing job, my staff has, with adapting. We're doing virtual programs with videos, and they're doing these take-home programming packets. We actually got a grant from the Kentucky Humanities Council, and over the course of the summer, we handed out over 1,000 take-home programs. Tim's wife has put together a couple. I mean, the whole staff has worked to think of things to get people active, to get them, give them something to do during this time. And I'm just really proud of the way that we've adapted and worked to make that happen. We are a little sad that our new branch hasn't yet been able to be used as it was intended. That building was built for people to gather. If you walk in and take a tour, and if you haven't yet, please come by and just give me a call, and I'll be happy to take you around and show you everything. But there's places to sit everywhere. There's tables everywhere. There's meeting rooms. There's small meeting rooms. There's large meeting rooms. There's all these places for people to gather, and we're sad that hasn't happened yet. But one thing we are excited that we think we're about to be ready to be able to do is the makerspace. That was not going to be able to be opened immediately anyway. Have to get in we had to get the space there before we could figure out which equipment would fit, order the equipment, start learning how to use it. So we have a lot of equipment in this makerspace. What's going to happen is people will come in and they will be certified on how to use it. They'll do a little one-on-one lesson. Once they're certified, they can make an appointment to come in at any time and use that equipment for free. We will not charge you at all. You will bring your own materials and you can use it. You could be a small business, you can just be a person, a hobbyist, you could be somebody working on a Christmas gift for a family member, anything. And I brought two little examples that I thought were kind of neat. We have a giant laser cutter. Christy was very proud that we have the largest laser cutter of any makerspace in Kentucky. It's huge. It will do a lot. We designed and cut our own sneeze guards. We've designed and cut signs all around the library. And yesterday, Wes brought me a sign to put on my door. And I mean, look how clean, and it's just a really lovely machine. And I think that it will be very beneficial for our community when that's able for people to be certified on that laser cutter and just come in and use it for no cost. In the past, we've had a small 3D printer that was a very good starter 3D printer to kind of teach you how 3D printers work. We now have a large one that can make an item up to this big. They did the first test run of it this week to make this little square, and if you're really interested in this stuff, I'll be happy to let you look at it. But there's like layers upon layers here, and it's really tiny, and it's so precise, and then it's really strong. This is a much better 3D printer than we had before. And again, with this, we would charge you by weight for the, I keep calling it filament, and I think they tell me that's the wrong word. But for the actual material, we'll charge, but it's really a tiny, tiny fee. It's cents per ounce. But again, it's a lovely 3D printer, and we hope in the next few weeks to be able to start making appointments to certify people on that machine. And now, according to KRS, I have to read our rates, and I gave away my last paper. Tim, can I borrow yours? So, in 2021, we are taking the compensating tax rate, which real property is 9.4 cents per $100, and personal property is 10.28 cents per $100. Any questions about the library? Because I'm happy to talk about it all day long. I think we're doing good stuff.
Ever since COVID hit, internet usage for folks in the county has been an issue. Have you seen an increase in folks coming in using?
Yes, that wireless number for the last fiscal year is much higher than the fiscal year before it. And of course, the fiscal year ended June 30. So that was, the March, April, May, June. We are seeing more people hanging out in the parking lots. We've got, picnic tables. They're coming and using that. And, but we have not seen as much people coming in to use our public computers as we expected. We actually expected a big surge in that this week with the school going completely virtual. Mm-hmm. It didn't happen, but they are using the Wi-Fi a whole lot. And our Wi-Fi stretches at all 3 branches well into the parking lots. Our Wi-Fi comes through Paducah Power. It is super fast, it is super reliable, and we are really proud to be able to offer that people can come and use that service.
Do you know, Tammy, how long have y'all had Paducah Power for that service? Do you know? And if you don't know, I know that's kind of...
I know it's been at least 3 or 4 years, but I cannot be precise on the number of years exactly it's been. But it has been wonderfully reliable, and the only time we've ever had trouble is when a squirrel ate through a line, which happens in Kentucky.
Squirrel make it?
I have no idea. I did not ask about the well-being of the squirrel. I asked when my internet was coming back.
Thank you very much. I tell you, I've said often, if the library system that we have, you don't appreciate it as much unless you actually use it. And having school-age children that were at Calvert, I know they used that very often, and I know, again, it's one of those that is underappreciated mostly by folks that just don't use it. So thank you all for what you do.
And on that second page of
great.
what I gave you has login information for our digital services. All the phones for the library were forwarded to my cell phone during the stay-at-home orders, and I literally spent 8 hours a day helping people log on to these services, and then they would call me back and say, "Thank you so much, this is amazing." People do not realize what great services Hoopla and Libby are, how much you're able to access that way, and it's really, we've had those services for years, but it's been a blessing this year to have them. And that's one of those special, if you're not using it, you're not realizing how much is there. So if you guys are new to the library and you haven't used those, please do. And if you do not have a library card, you can easily sign up on our website.
I think that was one figure that was amazing. What is it, 32,000 library user cards, is that right? I think.
At one point, we had more library card holders in Marshall County than we have residents in Marshall County. Because especially our Hardin branch gets a lot of people from Callaway County, and then there is some from Livingston and McCracken that come in. We have reciprocal borrowing policies with the regional libraries. So we have more people who have a library card in Marshall County than we have residents of Marshall County.
Any other questions? Well, Tammy, we appreciate it.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for your time.
Have a good day.
Come see me.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to item C. David Culp. Is David here? I see David. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is David Cup. I live at 115 Al York Road between Benton and Jacksonville. I do appreciate this opportunity to come in front of the Fiscal Court. I have to me and my family, a very serious problem. Is the noise level in our area from the damn brew house. I was reluctant to do anything for a long time about this, but everything I've tried hasn't got me anywhere. We have lived at this property since 1974. The property on the corner of Al York Road and 641 belonged to my mama's mom and daddy. My mom and daddy lived there for a while before I was born, and my aunt and uncle bought it. My aunt still lives on that property. So, and if you go to the east, a half a mile is where my grandparents live. And I was raised across the road. This is my home. I have not moved in this area, since all this has taken place. I know we voted to make Marshall County wet. I didn't vote, but it passed. Majority rule, that's the way it is in our country. But since this place is open, it has absolutely destroyed our place, our home. I have sent videos to many of y'all showing what it's like living at our house. You can't get away from the noise. You can't go in the house and close the doors and windows and get away from it. And the only way to get away from it is to leave home. And I have called numerous people about getting something done about this. I started out, I called Mr. Scott Brown. I called your office judge, and they told me Scott Brown was over it. So I called him. He told me I need to call the deputy sheriff or the sheriff's office. Well, I was reluctant to do that for a while. I thought, well, maybe things would get better. So I called later on. We started calling the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office informed me they had no jurisdiction to do anything about this because there was nothing in writing, no law concerning their noise level. So I've talked to the county attorney about this. There is an ordinance that is, I think the county attorney wrote up. Is that correct? Yes. It's ordinance number 2015-05. I wish y'all would take a close look at this. I don't understand. I'm not an attorney, so I can't debate legal terms. But all I can do is read what I see here. It says on the very first page, the purpose of the ordinance is to establish uniform regulations and requirements for the licensing and regulation of alcoholic beverage manufacturers, sales, pursuant to the authorization of KRS 241 and through 244. That's the very first thing it says. If you're going over here, public, on page 24 of this same document, it says public nuisance shall mean any activity that endangers or interferes with the general use and enjoyment of the neighboring property. To me, that concerns, that's my issue right there. If you go and look at this thing further, on the page 28 of this, the licensee shall at all times ensure that the operation of the outdoor alcoholic beverage area does not unreasonably interfere with the quiet enjoyment of neighboring properties. And then if you go on back here to page 26 of this, All certified peace officers and the county ABC administrator are authorized to enforce this ordinance for alleged violations. Now, please, I would wish someone would tell me, does this thing mean what it says or not? I've been told we need a new ordinance for this situation. I want the court to decide or look into this and see what is this relevant. Maybe the county attorney can explain this better. I'm sure he can, but I'm just reading what I'm seeing here.
Right.
Okay, well, I think I know I've seen it, I think you've sent it to all four of the court members. And at the outset, I just want to say that there's nobody up here that doesn't sympathize with you, okay?
Appreciate that.
I know you sent it to me, and I watched it, and I would be upset just as you are. I would have a problem with the noise level too if I was in your situation. So please don't think that nobody cares, okay? But the question that I always have to ask is, do we have a good criminal case to bring it in a criminal action against it? Because that's the only authority that I have, is to bring a criminal action. That's the only authority that the sheriff's office or Scott Brown has, is to bring a criminal action. So we have to look at it from just the bare bones facts of what we have, okay? Now, the ordinance that you've talked about, there's several issues that I want to go over with you on that. One talks about, as I think you've already read off to us, cannot make unreasonable noise, okay? So the problem is, I think, inherent in the language there is, what does unreasonable mean, okay? When my wife and her mom are at my house in the same room together, they make unreasonable noise, in my opinion. In their opinion, they probably don't think they might make unreasonable noise. But Monty knows both of them. He seems to be agreeing with me on that. So we'll both hear from that later on, I'm sure. So unreasonable is something that we can't, readily identify. And let me use an example here. If Deputy Reynolds or one of the other deputies writes a speeding ticket and then turns it into the clerk's office, it doesn't say Joe Blow was driving too fast. It says that they calibrated their instruments at the beginning of their shift, and that they clocked this person doing 85 and a 70 on Julian Carroll, I-69, whatever it is. And they have a defined offense there. So it's something that we can, in court, prove. We can call the officer to prove that on this such and such date, the instrument was working properly, and that the speed was this, the speed limit was this, therefore there's an infraction. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's hard to prove what's reasonable and what's unreasonable, because especially when you're talking about noise or smells or anything like that, because everybody's sensitivities are different. So that's where it gets into the gray area, okay? The other issue with the ordinance and the statute is, if that ordinance that's talking about unreasonable noise and public nuisance, that's mirrored almost word for word after state statutes. One of them being in Chapter 525, talking about disorderly conduct, second degree. And the other one being 241, I believe, is where that public nuisance definition is found in the KRS. And that talks about public nuisance being offensive to surrounding properties to this is what I'm getting at, to a considerable number of persons, okay? So it's talking about both intent of the person who's operating the business and the level to which it interferes with the neighboring properties. And it uses the phrase properties, not one property. So that's kind of an explanation of where we are. And like I said, nobody has any issue with what you're saying. I mean, we all agree, I think, that this is interfering with your property. Whether or not that rises to the level of a criminal case under the statutes and ordinances that we have is a different question, though. I think you have a very good private cause of action for a private nuisance. I mean, I think if you were to file an action against the damn brew house, you may have a very successful case with that. But that's not through the county attorney's office going through a criminal action. That would be a civil lawsuit.
Well, I guess I'm just having a problem understanding why they even wrote that part, if the unreasonable part. Why is it there? I mean,
Well, like I said, it talks about intent and the number of people affected, okay? Now, I don't know if anybody else in your neighborhood is experiencing the same problems that you have.
yes, sir.
To my knowledge, I haven't heard from them, and I don't know if the sheriff's office has or not.
Yeah, they have. I went and got some records that I talked to you about, the open records. People that's called, and I've contacted some of them from with Boss Hog place down there in Aurora, and Mr. Lovett, and I mean they're just like us. You know, man, I'm telling you, it's ruined us. I've talked to the commissioner here, and I can't even sell my place, I bet, without taking a tremendous loss. You know, I didn't build that place up to sell it. I built it up for maybe from one of the kids, passed it on. They don't want to live there. I don't blame them. I mean, we built a place there that we worked hard for, and the good Lord blessed us and took care of us. And we have church groups over there from our church with, you know, big get-together, and that's where the family gets together. Other night out there, I don't know if y'all got this one or not, about a month ago, we thought they wasn't going to be having anything on Saturday night. So my son wanted us to come over there. My wife said, well, y'all just come over here and we'll just grill hot dogs out in the fireplace. Time we ate, we had to leave. It was so bad. And I just can't believe we got ordinances here that we allowed this to come into this county with no regulations on them. It ain't just me. It's down there at Aurora. I've talked to people over here on 641. Something's got to be done. I mean, yes, if it comes down to it, I guess I could hire me an attorney and do whatever I got to do and spend a lot of money, which I'd be willing to do because I'm fixing to lose a lot of money. I'm fixing to lose big time if I try to sell my place.
Mr. Cope, we have that video, and Brad's got it. We're just going to show this video so that
Appreciate it.
folks understand, because there's more people. I know my office gets quite a few calls over the past year since 2015. And there are several establishments in the county that folks are having similar issues with. So I know you've sent several videos to us, and I think it's fair to share so that people can see what you're dealing with. How far is?
From right there, it's about 90 yards to their bank.
90 yards?
Have a get-together at my house. 35 years of hard work for this crowd.
And to be fair to the establishment, I don't know if anybody's here from the Dan Brew House. There's always two sides to a coin. We all know this. I know the Boss Hogs, we've had several complaints. I spoke to a gentleman who, across from 641, what is it, Beer Garden. You know, he ran into the same thing, and the county attorney has kind of laid out the legal standpoint of it. The county went wet in 2015, obviously for residents in our community that are directly affected. That was a huge change for them. Businesses that bring a service to folks in the community, that's a plus for them. What is the balance? I mean, we can't navigate with these changes without trying to find some type of a balance for both you as a private citizen and a business that is operating in the county. And I think that, we have to find a way to where we can resolve some of these issues. One of the residents that I spoke to, he was getting ready to put one of those horns off of a tugboat, and he was going to give it right back to him. So we were going to have, that going on. But that business, knowing those complaints, and they changed their environment. They changed I called him after, you had sent those videos, and I asked him, I said, are you still having the same problems? Apparently, that establishment, they changed the direction of their speakers. So they did some environmental changes or changes within their business, and he said that he was happy with what they did. And that may be the first step, that maybe with the business in that area might be able to change something with their, their setting. I know that if it's a speaker, you can change the direction of the speaker. That would be obviously the best for all parties, because then, the business still provides its service to its customers. And 90 feet away, that's close.
90 yards.
90 yards, I mean, that's close. The one thing that we have to be careful about from a governing standpoint, I'm not a big fan of just throwing a blanket on everything. And that's just my personal opinion. But in this position, as a fiscal court, when we have residents that come in and we have businesses that are directly affected as well, what can we do to help? I would ask that it's something at the business level, just like the one establishment off 641. They changed their setting, and that individual who was at his wits' ends, he's fine with what they've done. Before we start legislating a way to fix a problem that probably could be fixed at the lowest level. And we all know, we've all discussed it, there's no county ordinance. And what I mean by county ordinance is there's no ordinance that would give a law enforcement agency, because we don't have planning and zoning, and the law is kind of the way it is, what it is. We don't have anything like that specifically directs, that this establishment is to operate this way, and it does give teeth to the local authorities to enforce. I would not want to see the fiscal court step off into that direction right now until we maybe try to work something out at the individual business and the resident level. And I don't even know if the environment off 641, and I'm using that as an example, is a lot different. They can actually turn their stuff back towards the tree line and turn it away from the affected residents across the street. So I don't know if that's even possible, but.
Well, they could do that, but they'd just be turned towards someone else.
Yeah, looking at the business, I think just looking at the environment of the business, if you turn it towards the 641, the actual road, I think you're going to have, what time of day? I know you've seen some videos where it's late in the evening.
About every Tuesday night, getting to be several Friday nights. Most Saturdays, and on some occasions on Saturdays, it starts at 12:30 and goes to 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
Nonstop. I have contacted them, and they told me there was no ordinance, noise ordinance, so they could play it as loud as they wanted to. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm at.
Yeah.
And someone can't help me, I don't know.
Yeah, and it
It's
is.
like me telling my neighbors I can do anything I want over here, and even if it offends you or is hurting your property, you nothing you can do about it.
Sure. And nobody's there's only a few people that are in your shoes right now. and I feel for both. This is why we're here today. I mean, to discuss this and try to find a compromise. I do think that it can start at the business level, if there's options to maybe change the direction or change how the setting is. What I don't want to see is we don't try that and we jump right into an ordinance, because that is something that we can do. But I think that government, to its best ability, is to get out of the way and just provide those services. The county did vote, the majority did rule that day that we're a wet county, and you mentioned that. But at the same time, we just don't drop our efforts as a governing body when we have complaints since 2015 on the businesses that have started up. And we want to be fair to all who are involved. So I would ask that if the business and the residents in that immediate area that are affected, maybe to see if there's something that can be done at their level first. If not, then obviously, as a governing body, we can't just, say the current law is what it is, because we do have the authority to put an ordinance in place. But I think that we need to try first all measures, because once we start going down just legislating that way, putting ordinances in place on everything, before too long, we're just going to have nothing but a bunch of ordinances, and we haven't worked together to fix problems.
Well, there again, I showed you the history.
Sure.
I've lived there all my life, except for 2 years I was in the Marine Corps, and that was, I've been here all my life.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, Judge. And to have someone from outside of the county come in and do what they've done to our county, yes, it's legal. But to do what they've done to my place and my neighbors, my aunt's 91 years old and it's driving her crazy sitting in the house. And to say there's nothing we can do about it, I mean, we got papers here. To me, it says we can. I don't understand this.
Well,
No offense, I'm not
Sure.
rebutting what you're saying, but when this says, well, I just read 4 things here, I'm sorry, what's the ordinance for?
Well, here's the reason why.
Period.
Here's the reason why I use the speeding ticket analogy, okay? And that is that one option, if it comes down to it, like Judge Neal just said, if it can't be resolved at the level of the parties involved, then one option would be to explore something similar that Paducah has in place, and I sent that to all the fiscal court members, I believe Friday of last week, for them to look at, and that is specific decibel levels. Putting limits on decibel levels, and in that way, and Judge Neal, I think, has personal experience with this from the Paducah Police Department. The officers equipped with some kind of device that goes out there and measures. And so if the level is too high, ticket is issued.
What is that level?
I don't know. That's something we'd have to, I'm not an expert on noise level.
Well, I've working at the plant for 40 years nearly. I've dealt with, noise levels and stuff.
But the Paducah ordinance does list, measurable levels for, and that they're at a significant advantage than we are because Paducah is zoned, okay? So if you look at their noise ordinance, it's by neighborhood. So it talks about industrial, commercial, residential, what the noise levels at each place can be at the certain times. So, it's very specific on what it is. So, and that's an option. So, I guess to speak to the businesses, if it comes down to it, we may have to, like Judge Neal said, explore that, and it'll be a simple issue. It'll be black and white at that point. If they come out and it's too loud, you're going to get a ticket.
And I think that before we get there, I hear your complaint. I guess hearing from others who have complained as well, they have a resolve And I just ask that, there's a representative here from the business and yourself, if that can be accomplished at your level first, and if not,
That'd be
then,
great. That'd be great. But when they told me they could do what they wanted as loud as they wanted, where do I go from there?
yeah. And to their defense, right now, the way it is, and I don't agree with it, but we have to find that compromise for you and the business. And I think we can. I think we can. Yeah, that's fine. Do you want to come up and talk as well? Yeah. I'm sorry, they can't hear, the people that, if you don't mind, Mr. Cope, she's going to come up and speak on that as. Sorry.
I'm Sherry Swatzel. I'm the owner of the Dan Brew House. We typically don't have music every weekend. When we do, we have our music shut off by 10. The instance he's talking about that went on till 11:30 was a fundraiser for the veterans. We, excuse me, during the music, my husband or Chase will go back to his property line and get a decimal reading and take a picture of it just to have for record. We try to be a good neighbor. We've turned our music every which way we can. We still get a complaint from him. I myself have never said we can play it as loud as we want, as long as we want. We try to have the music off by 10 o'clock. Does he ever call and complain about the band, the high school band that plays every day? All I've heard him complain about are the 3 businesses that serve alcohol. But if he'd like to buy the property from us, we'll sell. But thanks to our governor, we have to move all of our stuff outside as we can, weather-wise. But other than that, we're doing the best we can to survive.
Sure, yeah. I know COVID has been very hard on businesses.
Extremely hard. You know, when we've got a small business and your capacity is cut to 50%, then everybody's got to go outside. And thank goodness we've had great weather during this. And his complaint about Tuesday night, I mean, we try to keep it down. It's bingo with music, and it lasts 1 hour. So, I don't know. We're at our wits' ends too.
Yeah, and I understand that.
And I hate for the police officers have to drive all the way out there just to say, hey, we got a phone call. Okay, see ya. And, you know, they turn around and leave. I feel like that's a gross waste of their time.
How is it mainly a live band, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so everything's a live band?
Yeah. We've even had them inside and
Sure.
got a phone call.
Has there ever been talks about changing the setting or
We've
going
had
out?
it everywhere.
Yeah? Do you think that that's attainable?
Pardon me?
Do you think that that's something that could be done?
I mean, we have changed the direction of the music multiple times and to no avail.
Gotcha.
But that's all I have to say.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Yes.
There's no need to have to build something different, turn something different, do anything different. Turn it down. That's all we're asking, turn it down. So it ain't shaking my house. The subwoofers over there, sometimes that's all I hear. boom, 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 in the house. They ain't got a bill to spend money on something, just turn the thing down. And according to that gentleman I think you referred to up there, Aurora, they're talking about the horns. He's at my house yesterday, and that man still ain't happy. He's miserable like I am.
Yeah, the one I'm referring to is off 641.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one at
Well,
Boss Hogs is still, I think he's.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But that's all we're asking. They
Yeah.
ain't got to spend a ton of money. They can do, that's their property. They can do what they want over there till it infringes on us.
Right.
And I feel the same way. I can do what I want on my property till it disturbs somebody else. Turn it down. That's all I had to say, Judge, is that somebody else got something to.
No, I think that we all know that it's been discussed without a ordinance. I mean, there's really it's left up to the parties involved to communicate and try to find a resolve. You know, like I stated, the concern I have is that we throw a blanket ordinance on 2 or 3 businesses. County attorney referenced the Paducah ordinance, and they have planning and zoning, so they're totally different than we are in the county. But at some point, how do we balance the fact that we're a wet county, and we have residents and businesses that are directly affected? And to be fair about it, I understand, turn it down. But you don't have control of that.
I don't.
And sometimes, turning it down when you're 90 yards away, what does that do to your customers? I mean, so it's a balance that we have to figure out.
But when you can hear it over half a mile, I know a half a mile. I'm talking as a crow flies.
Yeah.
Over my sister's house, my son's house, when you can hear it that far away, I don't need a decimal meter.
Yeah.
Not to beat a dead horse here, but I want to go back to what I said at the beginning, and that's what I can do and what law enforcement can do. The only thing that we can do are criminal actions, okay? So that's the part of the balancing act is when and if does something like this become a criminal act where I charge them with a crime and bring them into district court. I mean, that's a pretty serious step to take when you're charging anybody with a crime, much less when you're charging somebody with a crime for otherwise operating a business that they have a license to do. So that's a pretty serious step. And like I said, you do have the option of the private nuisance. And that's, you actually gave a pretty good definition, pretty good legal definition of what a private nuisance is. And that's that you have a right to use your property so long as it doesn't substantially and unreasonably interfere with somebody else's. That's the exact definition of a private nuisance. And if you can prove that in court, then you've got a good case against them.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
And it's not just noise. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm similarly situated to you, but for people like us that live out in farm areas, when they fertilize the crops, I mean, the smell of chicken manure is enough to choke a buzzard, okay? And I don't like going outside and smelling that, but that's just part of it. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm on the same level as you. It doesn't interfere with me to any degree like it does you, okay? I'm just trying to give an example.
Chicken manure will go away after a few days.
Yeah.
This stuff don't go away.
Yeah.
So, one other thing I'd like to comment, they do go past 10 o'clock on occasion. Just not long ago, it was 11 o'clock. And I don't know who I talked to over there. When I called this time, asked them to turn it down. They said, hang on a minute, you need to talk to someone else. They give me some lady answered the phone, and that's when they informed me they were celebrating their second anniversary or whatever, and they could play it as loud as they wanted to. So I just want to clarify that comment. Anything else?
Has anybody got any questions?
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I would say as far as, I don't know a lot about this case, I've just heard a little bit in discussion. I think Scott Brown before had gone out with a decimal meter and recorded the band and, kind of compared it. Looking, and I did see the map, the band at least is quite a bit further distance than from residences than what this business would be. So you're kind of comparing apples and oranges there if you're looking at just specific decibels as far as distance and how that decibel is going to carry over to residences. Other than that, I don't know anything else about this case. Might be a good idea if you do move forward sometime thinking about an ordinance, kind of refining that ordinance or whatever, is obviously looking at some other cities, what they do, but then just go around to some places. I mean, if some churches have bands inside, just listen to, they're inside with quite a bit of people, listen to what their decibel level, kind of look at a different avenue all the way around to see what's acceptable, what's usable for things. We'll do what we can on what we're advised to do as well.
You don't remember what that decibel level was when he was out there measuring?
I
do you?
don't. I'd have to. It was done while Scott was still here. I just remember him talking about it and somebody looking at the map of where things were. So.
But the one step of that would have to be zoning, correct?
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
okay.
we couldn't target, I don't think we
Right.
could just target the businesses. I mean,
Right.
we'd have to, and that's one problem with not having zoning.
Not having zoning is that.
I mean, I think we could do it, but at the same time, you're going to encompass everything in the county.
Yes.
So that's problematic too. And I don't want to sound like I'm picking on farmers because I love farmers. They farm, but those grain bins when they're drying
Yes.
grain, they're
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
And-
My father-in-law has had a complaint from a neighbor, but it's his.
Yeah.
He has to do that
Yeah.
to keep that dry, obviously, or he's lost a lot of money,
So it's give and take. There's two sides of the coin
Yeah.
to living in an area where no zoning. I mean, you
Absolutely.
take the good with the bad, unfortunately, sometimes.
Under correspondence, item A.
These are September personnel changes. Jacob York, part-time election officer, effective 9/14/20 at $11 per hour per Tim York. Darcy Smith, part-time election officer, effective 9/16/20 at $9 per hour per Tim York. Jason Neal, full-time road department, effective 10/1/20 at $17 per hour. James B. Luckett, sheriff deputy, voluntary termed 9/24/20. Jody Cash, sheriff deputy, voluntary termed 9/18/20. Beverly Page, part-time election officer, effective 9/21/20 at $11 per hour per Tim York. Norma Cope, part-time election officer, effective 9/21/20 at $11 per Tim York. Kevin Green, full-time sheriff deputy, effective 9/30/20 at $22.01 per hour.
Go on to item B, correspondence. This is just voter information. This has been put out on the county Facebook page, but I'm just going to read this. This is the Marshall County Board of Elections. With the election coming up, I think there's still folks that may have questions, and we're going to post this on our webpage as well, so that you can go to this and see where you can vote in the county. This is from the Board of Elections, Marshall County, November 3rd, 2020, general election voting options. Obviously, the mail-in voting, voters may request a mail-in ballot by going to the portal established by the Kentucky Secretary of State at govvoteky.com, govoteky.com. You may also request a ballot by calling the Marshall County Clerk's office at 270-527-4743. You must request a mail-in ballot by October 9th, 2020. Today is the 6th, so that's this Friday. Mail-in ballots must be postmarked by November 3rd, 2020, and received by November 6th, 2020. There will be a drop box located in the courthouse main hallway and one located in the entry of the Calvert City Hall. These will be available during the respective buildings' operating hours. Ballots must be placed in the drop box by November 3rd, 2020. That brings up a good question, okay. Early voting for any registered voter, no matter your precinct, will begin October 13th, 2020 through November 2nd, 2020. The voting site will be located on the main floor of the county courthouse. It will be available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. and on Saturday from 8 a.m. until noon. Additional early voting opportunities for any registered voter, no matter your precinct, will be available from 8:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. as follows. October 13th and 14th, building location will be Calvert City Library. The physical address is 23 Park Road, Calvert City. October 16th, Possum Shot Fire Station, and that's 39 Little Cypress Road, Calvert City. October 19th, New Harmony Baptist Church, 4817 Simpsonia Highway, Benton. October 21st, Brewers United Methodist District Office, 2285 Jack Treese Road, and that's in Kirksey. October 23rd, Hardin Community Building, 112 High School Street, Hardin. And October 27th, Aurora Fire Department, 8280 Aurora Highway, Benton. Election Day voting will be held on November 3rd from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. at the following locations for any registered Marsh County voter, no matter your precinct. The building location is Marsh County High School, be the upper gym lobby, 416 High School Road, Benton. Calvert City Civic Center, 1515 Fifth Avenue, Southeast Calvert City. Sharp Elementary School, 8400 U.S. Highway 68, West Benton. Benton First Baptist Church Activity Center, 910 Main Street, Benton. South Marshall Elementary School, 155 Sid Darnell Road, Benton. Jonathan Elementary School, 9207 U.S. Highway 68 East, Benton. And East Marshall Fire Department, 7485 Morris Camp Highway, Gilbertsville. Persons voting in person should wear a mask and practice social distance in line. So that's the information on the upcoming voting. That'll be starting here pretty soon. And again, we'll put this out. It's already out on our Facebook page, and I think we'll update that on the webpage as well. Old business, approved minutes, September 15th, September 28th, special call meeting, and September 28th, public meeting.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to move for a short recess.
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead and get back to business. Under old business, item B, courthouse roof bids.
Right.
Did we
We
get
opened
any?
it last time. We opened it last time. There was one. So I'll kind of explain. I wasn't here last meeting, but what prompted us to advertise was when I talked to two different roofers, they said it was going to be over the 30,000 mark. So that automatically made us bid it. When we bid it, this was the only one that was turned in. So the prior two didn't turn in a sealed bid consistent with the advertisement. So this is the only one we have at this point. We could deny this and then do something different, or you can accept this.
Speaking about the courthouse roof, I had a gentleman reach out. He'd watched Fiscal Court, and he brought up a good point, and I figured I'd just throw it on the table. This courthouse is how old, Justin?
105-year-old.
So
15.
it's 105 years old. Something that he had brought up was that you start getting into a 105-year-old building, you may run into some things that, well, if it's not investigated. So what he brought up was maybe reaching out to an architect to have them investigate and then design, since it is an old building, and it is that part of the, I know we've got some that was built on years later, but it is on the original part of the building, outside of the bids, but the actual roof itself, that was just a suggestion that he had that I thought was a good one, because when it comes to old structures, I mean, we could bring in anybody that bids to do work on this building, but we might want to think about getting an architect to investigate it. It's going to cost more monies, but if it's in doing the process right and the restoration of an old building like what we've got. So I just throw that out there on the table for us to chew on, and what the court thinks about that.
I know part of the issue that we had over here in the corner, we had an air conditioning condensation line that was running into where the gutter goes. Well, there must have been a puncture hole in that box where the gutter was, and Tech's crew repaired that and actually took that condensation line straight down into the gutter. So I think that's fixed part of it, because you can notice on the outside of that side, that brick is a different color. And actually, when I was standing out there with one of the contractors, it was dripping, and we hadn't had any water or any rain. So, but that was from that condensation line, and that's why they ripped out all the wall in that hallway. So we haven't had a significant amount of rain to know if that fixed that part of the problem. But I mean, if you go up there, you can poke a hole in that band that's around there on the old part of the building in that material. So I just wanted to kind of let you all know where that is, because I believe in the PBA office they're having issues with. It's basically right above where that section is too on this side.
Do we know the age of the roof, most recent
Well,
re-roofing, or?
The main flat part was re-roofed probably, do you remember, were you here, Justin?
Yeah, seemed like
It was less,
10 years ago, you think?
I was gonna say less than 20, maybe less than 15.
I'd say definitely less than 20, yeah.
So, and that part's in pretty good shape. If you've ever been up there, you've got the main old part it's all flat and rubber, and then it drops down where the additions were put on, and that's all rubber too. Well, where in between the new and the old is that band that's all the way around. When you go up there, you can see that white trim that's all the way around the original. That's where all that part was never replaced. I mean, it may have been in 105 years maybe, but when they redid all that 10 plus years ago, that part wasn't replaced.
And I think that's why, I know we've discussed this, I think that's why with the suggestion from the individual to have an architect, pay them to come in and design, they'll do their investigation, and then you're getting it from an architect as far as the design for a contractor to go out and do the work. One of the things that he mentioned is that most contractors, when they don't, and this is just something that he had brought up, they look for projects that have a design from an architect, and they're more apt to bid those projects than just jumping in and trying to do it. So that's just a suggestion. I thought it was a good idea, something that we hadn't thought about. It is an old building. I know when I remodeled my house, I found a lot of stuff. So with this, I would just ask the court to think about that might be the route that we should
It
take.
could last another 100 years, I mean, if we maintain it right and do it right.
Right.
How much would something like that run, you reckon?
He estimated, 10, 15. I mean, you're getting a professional service to come in and do an investigation and design something on an old house or old building.
That's a quote
Yeah,
from
yeah.
somebody on
I could
that.
talk to a few that we've,
Is that something, that
That
would be
seems like,
something
that seems, 10
engineers
seems like it'd be
know,
on the
right?
real high end for something like
That's
that.
not a river crest.
No, this will be an actual,
that'd be like CMS or
Yeah, that did
the park.
Miracle League, yeah.
Yep, and
Yes.
then, or the other one that we used for the multipurpose building.
RBS.
Architect, RBS, yeah. But we could, and this would be something we just touch base with them and kind of let them know what we're looking for and see if they can give us a proposal.
within it, I know it's two different things, but it just brought it up to me. Have we sent off for our CARES money, and we've received it? No, I haven't seen anything where we've amended it, obviously.
yes. We sent off, the CARES Act was from March till the end of December. So you can, the local governments can actually submit many times. So we did, obviously, last year's budget, I think it was, what, July? June 30th. So we sent that off. And as early as yesterday, DLG, and we've got to fix that, or at least communicate with them. The county, as you know, has $1,058,000 available to them. With DLG, the right hand and left hand, we just got to get the communication on track. They were like, "Oh, you're awarded $1,058,000." These are federal dollars. You have to justify what it is that you're requesting.
We hadn't actually applied.
Yes.
for $1,058,000.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We've sent them.
Well,
Not the whole.
That's
Not
what I'm
the
saying.
whole,
We
no.
hadn't applied for that. They awarded that without having,
Well, we did March
Justification.
to end of June,
yeah.
and we submitted that to them, and as of yesterday, their response was, and you can speak on more, because I know you guys have, the answer to your question is yes.
We did our initial application probably like a month ago, and we had an initial approval letter, and for the amount that we had submitted, which it was a little over 600,000. I don't remember the exact amount. And so then I contacted them this week because the month has gone by and I haven't seen any money yet. And somebody at DLG had let me know that the process had kind of just stopped. No reason, just he picked it back up for us though. So he's been talking to me since yesterday or the day before that, yesterday, about getting that process rolling again. They've sent us some more paperwork. That's paperwork we've already filled out, but I'm going to fill it out again after this and send it again. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay. All right.
So the plan was, since we had two budget cycles, was to do the March to June, and then June to December.
And that, and then,
Yeah.
okay.
So what do we've got a bid on the courthouse bid. If the court
we just need
is,
to take action on that, however you guys want to.
yeah, if the court's entertaining the architect, then we could just deny this bid and go that route.
Can we table the bid until we
I mean, at this point, if
figure that
you're,
out, or no, or just decline it altogether?
I'd say decline it.
All right, I move we decline it,
If you're gonna have an architect, they're gonna come up with a plan.
and then
Change the
send it
bid
out,
anyway.
so.
Yeah.
Move we decline the bid.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And I would say we would need an action for my office to look into the architect, get some quotes for the courthouse.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, under old business, Commodore Lane. This was brought to the court through way of a petition almost a year ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago. We sent out the road review, and they found items that needed to be corrected. Since then, and I'm going to let Roy speak here on this, since then they have done everything, and he's been involved in it, but the final surface is where we're at, so just
He
update.
petitioned August the 6th, 2019 to take it in. And since then, he's been working on putting driveway culverts in and ditching. We went out numerous times to work with him, and he's got it in pretty good shape, and it's ready for blacktop now.
So the,
They've got the funds ready to do that, right?
He said he could bring me a check at any time.
yeah. So the petition to the court was to bring Commodore Lane into the county program. We sent out, as Roy said, we sent out the road review team. They came back. These items have to be met. They've been met. Now we're at that point where it's the final surfacing. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, the court would be looking at taking the county road, or taking the road, Commodore Lane into the county road program. The final surface, the road department can work with the Jim Smith contractors to do the final surface, and then the owner would pay for it. So that's where we're at.
This has all been done by the private parties.
So
With supervision from Roy and the folks out at the road department.
So where the court's at is, if the court want basically to take action to bring it in, have the final surface. Now, you have to think of the timeline. When do the plant shut down? We're cutting it.
I spoke with Jim Smith Contracting this morning about our roads, about flex money and all that. And it's gonna be 2 weeks before they can get to us on that.
Okay.
And then it's gonna be next week sometime that I can take him out to Commodore Lane and look at that with him.
Does he think he can get it
thinks-
this fall, or?
He thinks so, which it depends on the weather.
So the worst case scenario, we wouldn't, and the reason why is because once the asphalt plant's shut down, that's it. So worst case, we'd have to pick it up in the spring.
But that needs to be done, we need to take it in prior to that being done.
Yes.
Correct? But we're not out any money, it's the private owner. Is
Correct.
paying 100% of it. Okay.
Correct. So the process was met, the
Yep.
petition, we went through the
Right.
public hearing, all that was met, and the things that the
Earlier.
court said to fix, he fixed.
Yes.
So we're just,
We accept it.
Second.
so the motion is to
Pending.
move to bring Commodore Lane in the county program.
Contingent upon the final surfacing.
Yes.
Yes, okay, and then there was a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So you can just let me know with how that goes. That way I can update the court if we meet that timeline. But if not, we'll do it in the spring. Draftonville Sewer Project, we had the public meeting. That, I just want to share some changes that we had discussed, and I think everyone should have what was presented in that public meeting. You got two things. Adder, and this is from the engineers, Adder A and Adder B.
Adder,
Adder, that's the.
like olive top.
I'm just going to say the addition. Basically, what was discussed, as we all know, was to come in the back of the properties, and there's 2 locations to get under 68. And I just want to throw some numbers here. Going off of what the treasurer had presented a couple meetings ago, it looked like this. Basically, it had broken out the bonds and other monies. We had the change order on the Southwest 1 project. That was roughly $50,000. And then the sewer project, we originally had bid the project, I think it was $768, and then we had the public meeting, and it was $760. So if you take the total of what was presented, the approximate remaining dollars in the bonds is about $602,000. $140. The addition of alternate A, is $158,772. And the addition of alternate, or addition B is $126,537. And I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I did the math here just so that you guys understand. We're going to be talking about Jonathan Creek water petition, and the approximate number there is 200,000. So if you add those numbers up, it's going to leave about 116,000 approximate numbers for the bonds. So I just lay the numbers out for you in the bonds so that you can see that. But pertaining to what we had discussed in the public meeting regarding the sewer, addition A and B, we have the monies, and it does get us under 68 in 2 locations. So that's where we're at.
Question here.
Yeah.
The pink, I guess, or purple, I'm not sure what that color is,
Yeah.
line is not included in that number.
And I
Is
think,
that correct?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that it was included.
are you talking about the,
The actual, yes, the actual
Here.
line running horizontal.
yeah, it was 68.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that is on the landowners.
okay. Just making sure, because, okay, so that 160 is simply, or, you know, whatever it is simply to just cross, bore under and cross, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the updated that Chad sent us, the alternate A is 158,772, and then alternate B is 126,537. And I'm with you, Monty. I'm colorblind. I don't know if it's purple or
Yeah,
blue.
whatever it is.
But the goal was to get the sewer basically under 68, and then the private side, that would be their section. Or that would be available based off the design if someone were to come in and want sewer off that manhole.
So, but that manhole, once we are through there, constitutes or at least begins the ordinance process for those contiguous properties. True, or is it the line?
And I think the language in that ordinance is if it's services available. So if it's just a manhole, then that, I don't
Okay.
know. That's gonna come down to, is that constitute services available? So, yeah.
I mean, there's an element of reasonableness to it, obviously.
What do you mean by that? What's reasonable? We've already talked about this earlier.
No, I can't define that.
I know.
Poor question.
I know. I'm just saying.
Ever ask a lawyer to define something?
Once we go, you know, is it prudent, I guess, to do this now without knowing what those landowners, if we are going to actually run that, you know what I mean? That makes
Well, I
sense.
think
I know we had, as far as there,
Yeah.
of course, we had 2 landowners that weren't being affected about it, that wanted to be, and one that
Because we stopped.
yeah,
was.
I think the overall goal was obviously to get sewer
Yeah.
under the interstate and up to our facility. In the meantime, the original design was not favorable for the landowner.
Right.
So we came behind the properties, but then that opened up discussion
Yeah.
for, so we're getting under 68 in 2 locations, and we're putting the service, making it available where it originally is not. You know, the,
What does our ordinance say about isn't there a feet?
500
500.
or?
Gosh, we talked about it yet that day.
it's 500 feet.
500?
So really, only, you got it on one side of it, it's not gonna affect, but you're more than 500 feet from those going down on 68 on both sides, I think.
Do what now?
Well, your manholes are where they're at.
Sure it was 500.
That's gonna be more than
York?
500 feet, right?
Talked about it a million times that day. Finally got it out, and now I've left it.
Further, 500 feet than that.
The other, yeah, I mean, 500 feet, I don't know what the,
Affect these right here, just this one.
yeah. I don't know what the actual distance is, but the actual, getting underneath the 68 is what some of the landowners wanted.
Yeah.
And we obviously want to, if we've got landowners that want the sewer, we're going to try to help the best we can, but there are other landowners that are like, well, hold up. But the cost to get a contractor to get sewer to our facility, and then in the meantime, where the contractor's already out there on site, he's got his equipment out there, and we had this experience from maybe 2 years ago. It is advantageous for landowners to work with that contractor because he's already out there. Or they can run a line and put a cap on it. But for us, we're definitely doing the backbone of this work by getting it under the interstate and getting it up to 68.
Yeah, and that's a great deal. I'm glad that we changed
Yeah.
that with their guidance to be able to pick up all those on the south
Yeah.
side of 68.
And there is, and I found this interesting, there are, to try to make it, as Chad was saying, the best for us and them within the right price, the terrain dictates that. We can obviously, we can dig deep or we can put lift stations in, but for what we need right now is just to get service to it underneath 68 and to our facility, and it sets it up for future expansion.
And on B, we are the landowner. Right. So like if we're going from the park, we do not own that corner, correct? To the right of this spa.
No, no,
And then that's a individual, and then we own this one.
yes.
Yeah. And then the next one is that house, and then countryside.
Yeah.
I think for expansion, even though the corner property is going to need to, as we've discussed the other day, do the lift station and all that stuff, I think the expansion possibilities over there to me outweigh the other side.
Well, and the advantage because I agree, that property has been listed for sale, I think, since we were in high school.
Well, it's sold since then, I think, but it
But
was, but yeah,
bringing
it may have been actually.
business in sewer was one of the. So they for the county to help get sewer underneath 68, I think that's a huge step. And, you know, as we talked about further up the road, the land is, obviously, sewer is available. And time will tell. But for this project, the monies are there.
And what's that total?
The total for,
A?
Yeah.
Was 160, wasn't it?
A is 158,772. And then alternate B is 126,537. Those are the two additions from the original I rounded it up to 760, but 759,698.
I feel like A is our best option, but I don't know
Do you not want to do both A
if.
and B?
Oh, you're saying A and B.
Yeah, because that gets it, A,
What does A and B leave?
You do A and B, and if whatever goes forward with Johnson Creek, it'd be 160. But if nothing goes forward with Johnson Creek additional, it'd be like 360.
Okay.
those are proximate, because some of the projects have gone up or down, but those are proximate. I mean,
That other one's a large property that's listed as well. And could be
I think the difference is about
16.
$400,000 from the,
Oh, yeah, for the line on down to Griggstown. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah,
the-
I'm just talking about just getting it to that property and then across there.
and there's, you know, there's always, again, we can always come back and look at this once it's near completion. I mean, this is something that, it's not, we make a decision today, that's it. You know, there's always, we can look at this project as it's moving forward, before completion. But yeah, as far as what Chad put together, alternate A and B would serve both of those lines on their 68.
Wow, money.
Kind of an odd silence, like whenever I asked Denise to marry me. I was wondering, is it gonna happen, or? Just kidding, she just jumped off.
Well, I would ask the court to look at both A and B.
All right, Erica, what's total gonna be for A and B?
A and B added together is approximately 285,000.
285. How much bonds left
When-
altogether?
Would, yeah,
Well, After that, depending
That'd be-
on,
After the 285, if you move on the 285. Let me tell you exactly, I don't want to lie. $316,831.
About what for Soldier Creek if we decide to go with that water project? That's about 211.
Oh, I just estimated it at 200 on the dot. Is it about 211?
Yeah, about that. That'll leave how much?
105.
105. Reason I ask is there's a petition going around for Tree Cemetery Road. I got 2 residents that called me yesterday. And it's right off of Soldier Creek Road. And I don't know how long that road is, but if there's folks out there getting ready and wanting water and signing a petition saying that we want water, I would like to have enough money left to do that.
I have one from Calvert, by the way,
Yeah, I mean,
too, so.
and again, some of these projects, these are approximate numbers. Because some of these projects up and down, like we had Southwest One, they're nearing completion. We had a change order on it, which was about 50,000. The bond proceeds, we know that number. And then, the 911 upfit, talked to Chris yesterday. That was an approximate number that he gave, and he's below that, so there's some monies there. I mean, each one of these projects, and there's discretionary monies built in. The Jonathan Creek project, we've already committed $500,000. And then we're looking at the Soldier Creek project to add to that. So we kind of put together the numbers. And if everything goes well, obviously, we run into, I think, Jonathan Creek, there was an emergency shortly after we met that day. Some guy's driveway, and so we went ahead and executed on that, which was a couple $1,000s. But you start getting into these lines, or you start getting into these projects, there's going to be monies going up or down. But there are contingencies built in. So, and I'm not familiar with how big that road is.
Tree Cemetery?
Trees,
Do you know how big that is, David?
or how long it is.
It cuts through the, yeah,
Yeah. And,
it's not that long of a road. It connects Soldier Creek and Wheeler Green, I believe, or Wilkins Road 1.
yeah. And we're just talking about the bond monies. So, I mean, there's definitely, I think, enough monies to do this project with alternate A and B, the Soldier Creek project. And I know you said you got something in Calvert.
Small.
Yeah.
What do you got in Kansas City?
Down 62, PB Cloud.
So,
I just received it Friday, so I hadn't had a chance to.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with A and B.
And I'm comfortable with the, Rivercrest always builds in contingencies, so I'm comfortable with their contingency amount as well. But for A and B, that gets it under the interstate and under 68, and then,
I certainly think it's a positive move to move over 68 and go out that way for expansion. Graftonville, especially with 69, once that is complete, I mean, that all indications are is that, well, he's going. But
yeah, Josh, you go.
you're talking double the traffic count through there. I mean, that could be a huge win for us.
And I think we're
so
getting out in front of it.
To have that available and get right, just exactly being
Yeah.
out in front of it's a huge plus.
So is there a motion to take in the sewer project with alternate A and B?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
What was it? Was that a no?
No.
Okay. Motion carries. 0.9 miles. Okay. We'll go to new business. Board appointment, Marshall County Sanitation. Ricky Searles had to step down, so his term would have ended January 1st of 2021. So I'm going to appoint Jeff Russell. That would be my appointment to the sewer board.
Make that motion, Judge.
And that is to fill that vacancy till January 1st of 2021. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, E911 dispatchers promotion and full-time pay.
So when John Townsend stepped down and voluntarily termed, that left the assistant director position open, which Sheila Day took, which left the supervisor position open, which was given to Rachel Opiola. So with that, she would just move into that pay slot for that one.
Move we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second one is for Jamie Spears. He was hired part-time and moved to full-time, and he has much more experience than what he was originally being paid at. So we were just wanted to get him into that pay scale for his years of service.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, been patiently waiting. Come on up, sir.
I'm gonna read
he's
it.
got
And
the
this,
bid.
you can go right ahead if you want to. You can go right ahead if you want to. If you want me to give it to you, you can open it and, okay. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So an advertisement was ran in the Tribune Courier Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. Marshall County Fiscal Court is currently accepting bids for a Type 3 ambulance remount. Bidder must be QVM certified and comply with CAAS GVS 2.0 standards. Sealed bids will be opened October 6, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. in the Marshall County Courthouse. Bid specifications packets may be obtained by calling the Marshall County Ambulance Service at 270-527-1243. The Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. Signed, Kevin Neal, Judge Executive. So I believe we have two for the ambulance. This is like Christmas, good grief. This one is from someone. Oh, there it is. Select Tech. Maybe it's on the last page. Okay, here it is. Bid form. So net price complete as specified is $97,266. So that is the $98,766 is the total price, and then they deducted $1,500 for the trade-in allowance for the chassis. So that's total $97,266, and that's Select Tech. And this one is from Southeastern Specialty Vehicles. Didn't I?
No, I left it.
I do.
Every
self-respecting Southerner has an eye.
I got it.
He used his fingernail.
Yeah, I know. I know you didn't have the right tools. Okay. Okay. This is total price is $96,190 minus $500 for trade-in allowance. So net price is $95,690. That is Southeastern Specialty Vehicles.
Do you want to?
You want to look at these? Why?
Those? While he's taking a look at them, oh, we got us. Oh,
Yeah, for
I hadn't heard one of. What was that for?
that was for the ambulance remount. And so this one is, so while he looks at that, I'll go ahead and do for the striker system.
And the striker system, correct me if I'm wrong, this will put one in every ambulance, okay?
So this was also advertised in the Tribune Courier Tuesday, September 22nd.
Same ad.
It's the same ad. It's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. You want me to read it? I read it. Marshall County Fiscal Court is currently accepting bids for a power loading ambulance cot fastening system. System must be compatible with the Stryker Power Pro stretchers, provide a linear guide when loading and unloading the cot, and also provide a manual backup in the event of a power failure. To obtain bid specifications, please contact Marshall County Ambulance Service at 270-527-1243. Sealed bids will be opened on October 6, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. in the Marshall County Fiscal Courtroom. The Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. And we only got one of those.
My knife.
They put tape over the part that's supposed to be. I got it.
Is that a case?
I'll chew on it if I have to.
Is that a case?
Yep.
They don't have knives in Cincinnati.
I don't have knives up there.
I heard that, Monty. This is from Stryker.
They just have good dentists.
Yeah, that's right. So the total price for their system is $21,070.53. And that is the only bid.
All right.
How many does that equip, Brian? How many would that equip? Yeah.
One of those units in all 6 of our ambulances. So that this is kind of a project we've been working on for years, that this will be kind of the last step until the other ones start getting old enough that we look at replacement. But right now, that would outfit all 6 of them.
While he's looking through that, why don't we take a motion to table this item?
Move table.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to Johnson Creek Water District. While we have been discussing the water projects, folks on Soldier Creek heard the discussion, and we all know that there's folks out there that have been wanting water. So they have petitioned, and Justin, do you want to talk on that petition?
Some of the residents out there, as Judge talked about, heard that we was gonna be doing the Brewers Y project, and folks on Soldier Creek got a petition together and said they'd be willing to take water if the court would finance it. Johnson Creek approve it, and we're already gonna be down there. It's just gonna take another half a mile to go down from Jack Treese Road to Soldier Creek, loop it around the Brewers Highway. I've talked to David and folks at Johnson Creek. They think it's a good project, and they can get customers, and we can get water to the folks that need it up there.
That estimate was 211?
About 211, wasn't it, David?
Okay. And so that's the number when we were doing the math earlier with the bonds. That would leave 105.
Are there more than this that are, is this every single one of them
No,
that's
it's just
served?
the folks that
Signed the petition?
signed the petition.
So there's more
There's
that
more folks.
could be served.
And then once this petition got turned into me and I turned it into the judge's office, I had folks on Tree Cemetery, which is right there off there, said, hey, if you're coming out this way, we'd like to have it too. So, I mean, there's such a need out there. I mean, this should have been done a long, long time ago, and it's gonna take time, money, and patience, but we're getting there. And we're doing the work that needs to be done on it. So, I think it's a good project, and I'd make a motion that we move forward with it.
I think it's a good project. I would second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item E, ordinance 2020-07, speed limit, Rudolph Road. And I think we sent
Eddie and Roy.
okay. So reducing it to from 45 to 35?
Yes, that's perfectly fine.
So I'll read this. Speed limit ordinance, Commonwealth Kentucky County Marshal Speed Limit Ordinance Number 2020-07, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189-395A, based upon the request of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent and the Marshall County Sheriff. The Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 35 miles per hour for the following roads located in Marshall County, Kentucky: Rudolph Road. The foregoing ordinance shall be published in the Tribune Carrier on the date this year. This is
First reading.
first reading on October 6, 2020. So that'll be the first reading. We'll have this set for the next court meeting. Move on to item F, schedule a public hearing for Walton Lane. We received a petition for Walton Lane. It should read a certain section of Walton Lane, and what I would suggest is we send Roy out to measure that, if that's possible.
577 feet.
Already done, so we'll add that, 577.
From 641? Oh.
The section we're gonna take out, right, is what you're.
Oh.
Yeah, from the cul-de-sac where there's a sign, I guess, that says end of maintenance service.
I got you.
So that section, the petition is to take that section of the road out. We just need to have a public hearing scheduled. Our next court meeting, we can schedule it as we normally do. And I'm going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the 20th of October. We can do it at 10 a.m. to have the public hearing. So is that all we need, Jason? I just want to double check.
Yes, but just point out 178-070 as far as the notice requirements. Yeah, and the road viewers need to point to road viewers.
Okay. So do we need to appoint, even though he's already gone out?
Yeah.
Should we go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and appoint, now the road reviewers, is there a set amount of who is on that? Disinterested person. So we can send Roy,
Well, he can't be one of them, so that's.
okay,
He goes out with the road viewers.
okay. Well, then let's send, I know we've done Josh in the past, but let's send Andy and Brad. He's not interested at all. He don't have a knife.
Trains and buses.
They're all gold.
Not interested and doesn't have a knife. set the road reviewers to be
Got bridges
Andrew
made up.
Lepisto and Brad Warning to go out with Roy. And what else on there?
Notices must be placed at 3 prominent and visible public places within 1 mile of the road.
Okay, so the notice, is that just the petition, or what notice?
The notice of the public hearing, right?
The public hearing, okay. So,
That's always the fun one, trying to find a tree to post it
You
on.
have the
Post
church
it
and Catfish Kitchen, which I don't know is.
Yeah, I did it the last time, so
All
I
right.
I found a telephone pole
Oh, okay.
and a church that I stuck it on. They could still be there, I don't know.
all right, and that date is our next court meeting at 10 a.m., October 20th.
Actually, 2 churches.
Move on to item G, Family Week proclamation. I'm just going to read this. Marshall County Fiscal Court proclamation, Family Week, October 12th through October 18th. During Family Week, we celebrate the immeasurable contributions, influence, and virtues of one of the greatest institutions, the family. Strong families multiply joy, share challenges, and provide firm foundations for each member's growth and success in life. Families are essential to learning values. America's families are representative of the strength and unity of the core of our communities. Their love is an enduring reminder of what is best about our country. This week, we recognize in a special way that American families are integral to the building and sustaining our great nation by designating nightly activities. Whereas, this is starting the week of October 12th, whereas Monday is Ode Photo Night. Look through old photos and discuss with family. And whereas Tuesday is Family Game Night. Play a board game or other game activities with family. And whereas Wednesday is Bible study night, participate in a virtual church service or have an in-person discussion. And whereas Thursday is family meal night, plan, prepare, and enjoy a family meal. And whereas Friday is emergency preparedness night, discuss your family plan for emergencies. And whereas Saturday is Family Drive Day, drive around the county and look for Family Week signs. Visit old home sites and cemeteries. And whereas Sunday is Family Worship Day. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Neal, Judge Executive, Marshall County, do hereby proclaim October 12th through October 18th, 2020, as Family Week in Marshall County. Given under my hand the 6th day of October, 2020. You know, with COVID, one of the things that I think we've all shared is that we've had more time to spend with our families. But I think this is definitely enjoyable to read because the family is the backbone to a lot of things. And as we just heard, these are some things that the families can do during this week to make it even stronger.
Everybody take note that there is no family fight night.
Yes.
I don't know, I can kind of see a couple of those turning into family fight nights.
MMA at the house.
That drive around the county seems like.
Yeah.
Let's give our first responders a little time off.
And I'm trying to think, does that need a motion?
Is it
Proclamation?
Yeah, we can go ahead and vote on it, yeah.
So is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You ready, Brian? Okay. Let's need a motion to retrieve the bids off the table, please.
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. So everything looks good?
Yeah, I reviewed both of the bids, and both companies met the specifications as we set forth. There's a little, SSV is a new company. This bid is not traditionally a company that we received bids from. I was working with an ambulance manufacturer, Osage, that we work with a lot. This was a company they recommended because Osage was good for them, but they're so busy they were not going to be able to get to it within a timely manner. So they recommended this company. It's Southeastern Specialty Vehicles. When you look at the bids, Southeastern Specialty Vehicles came in $1,576 cheaper than Select Tech. Some of the key differences there is that Select Tech's a company that we have worked with. They've done every remount since I've been director, and I think they've done the vast majority for the previous director whenever he was here. Another difference is that SSV is in Henderson, North Carolina, which is 7 hours from here, and Select Tech is in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is 3 hours from here. So sometimes with remounts, you can get it back, things will be working good, and you may have an electrical issue or something go wrong. It's a whole lot more convenient to drive to Shelbyville than it would be to go to Henderson, North Carolina. So just based upon the history of working with Select Tech, they're a great company. They do a great product, great customer service. We get the vast majority of our parts for our trucks. We order from them. They've been good to us. They work with us. If we have any issues, we can call them today. They'll say bring it down tomorrow, and they'll get it in, work on it, and get us back on the road. So going with Select Tech would be my recommendation for the ambulance remount. Going for the power load system, the Stryker system is kind of a proprietary system. Obviously Stryker builds power load units that work with Stryker stretchers. There are other lifts out there, but a lot of times when you get into like liability issues, other aftermarket lifts that aren't designed for stretchers can be mounted on ambulances, but most of the time people don't opt to go that route for liability reasons. Obviously Furno they're another Stryker or stretcher manufacturer. They make a system that's quite a bit different than the Stryker. So with us already having the equipment of the Stryker Power Pro stretchers, then obviously we're going to have to go with something that's compatible with those. And this unit does, as we discussed earlier, this will complete our project of outfitting all 6 of our ambulances with a power load system. We've had a lot of good luck with them. The crews love them because it takes a lot of the lifting out of the equation. So in looking at both those, if we were to go with the Select Tech bid of $97,266 and the Stryker bid of $21,070.53, that would come in under our equipment budget, which is $125,000. That would leave us approximately $6,700 in our equipment budget. So I'm glad to see those come in under that, obviously. So that would be my recommendation for the ambulance remount.
Accept his recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
And I do have a question about the $6,700. Is that monies that, being we're going to have some left over, that we would be able to use for our uniforms?
Yeah, we budgeted those dollars, so
Okay.
Those monies.
Well, that's what I mean, I figured it would be okay, but I just want to go ahead and get clarification and make sure that as long as we have that money's available, that we can go ahead and proceed with trying to get some fall uniforms ordered.
Yeah.
Because believe you me, they're hollering at me right now.
Yeah. Understood.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brian.
Brian.
Did that include both items?
To receive both.
That was the,
Both recommendations.
Select Tech and the Stryker load system. You want them broken out separate?
oh no, I didn't understand it to be that the Stryker was in.
Yeah, he did. He said it.
How do you got that on the minutes? Both of them? Okay. No, good call. Yeah. Transfers, item H.
Okay, I have 2 transfers on here from occupational tax to road fund, $245,961. This is part of the budgeted subsidy for that fund. The second one is from the occupational tax fund to the jail fund, $100,000, also part of the budgeted subsidy to that fund. And then there is also a transfer for the transient tax for them is $24,494.21.
Move we accept the transfers.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item I, is there any reason to deny payment of the bills claims? Hearing none, let the fiscal court clerk record that the bills claims are to be paid. J, executive session.
Go into executive session for litigation.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, the only thing we need to do is take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.